Jane, start us off. 4-1 home defeat. The day started brightly, the sun was out, we go a goal ahead, and then everything unravelled. Where for you did it all go wrong?
Well, we did start off well, to be fair. Shane's goal, but then I just don't know. It's been like most games this season, home and away. We just seem to fall down, and it just doesn't seem to be any passion in it for me. Tranmere, you'd never believe were down the bottom with us. I thought they played much better than us, as have the other teams near the bottom. They played well against us, this season. So I just don't know really. The only good thing for me yesterday, I had hospitality with my one son and my granddaughter. So that was the saving grace for me.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, the point about Tranmere is interesting because they've obviously picked up a lot under Andy Crosby, and I had a message from Ethan who gave us the kind of away preview ahead of the game. And he said after the match that, he thinks they're a quiet tip for, playoffs potentially next season. They clearly have improved, but nevertheless, you start the game at home to one of the sides down amongst you. And what did you make of it, Ollie? It felt like they just overran us in midfield in the second half, and we didn't take any countermeasures.
It sort of looked as the team had listened to what Darth Williams had said in the pre-match interview and just thought, right, let's do the exact opposite. Darth wanted us to play with fight. He wanted this aggression. He wanted a proper Newport performance, but it looked like most of the lads were a bit uninterested. But Tranmere still looked like they had that real passion, and you could see that there was only one team there willing to win the match, and it wasn't us.
The turning point, I think we were 2-1 down by the time it happened, but the red card for Whitmore felt like a real kind of sliding doors moment in that game. Now, I know what Ollie thinks about it because he was sat near to me. Jane, from the hospitality seats and the prawn sandwiches, what did you make of that decision?
I did actually come back to my normal seat, so I wasn't far from where you sit. I didn't really see it at the time, to be fair. I was on my phone and I was talking to my granddaughter, but watching it back when we got home, he didn't elbow him in the face, did he? I don't think. So that's apparently what he was sent off for. But to me, it looked like nothing. I think it was to the chest more.
To me, it certainly didn't look like it was to the face. It was more that he held his run and then went into the player
Mhm.
and sort of changed his direction. I think, was that how you saw it, Ollie? Because I wasn't sure. There were clearly different views. To me, my initial reaction was, well, he's changed his run. He's barged into the player in front of the referee. That's sort of crying out for a second yellow. But then everyone else in the Hazel seemed to be incensed at the referee. So I was asking Ollie and Hoyling and various others kind of what did you make of it? And you tell us, Ollie, what did you make of it? Because you were closer to it than I was.
Yeah, I think this season a lot's been made by Kai's temperament, and he's certainly lacking in composure. As much as I love his endless enthusiasm and his real drive to sort of cover every blade of grass on the pitch, he doesn't really help himself in these situations. I think it was two very silly, easily avoidable, not even challenges really, just mistakes. I think the first yellow card he picked up because he tried to jump into Cameron Norman, which I don't I don't think most County fans would struggle to do after the past few seasons. And then the second one just got like he sort of forgot how to just stop his run or where he wanted to carry on. Who knows? But I think he will learn from it. He does seem to steadily improve game on game. And I think sort of touching on later points, if we do get a head coach who can really connect with him and sort out the little rough edges he's got, there is definitely a good player there.
Yeah, I mean, I've said before, I think he's got the potential to be at the heart of a county midfield in this division, but he's not going to be able to start next season because he's going to have a suspension carried over. Same, I think, for Kieran Brennan, and both of them are in sort of second season pressure scenario now. You get that year to come in, get used to the level, get used to playing regular first team football, but you then can't come in and make those sorts of errors of judgment. You can make a couple early on, but I think the pressure is on him now to show he's learnt from it, I guess. It's going to be a really big summer and a really big season, I think, for him next season. If he does want to stay at this level, then yeah, he kind of has a bit of growing up to do. And we did throw it out as well to listeners and ask what they made of it. So Simon Hoyligan said, season in a nutshell, some nice stuff for a short while at the beginning. Tranmere changed tactics. We didn't. Our limited players couldn't cope. Silly red card, comical defensive lapses. All the hits in yesterday's compilation album. Wonder where we'll be 12 months from now. Amber Tom said, Moses Alexander-Walker was the bright point. The next managerial appointment will be crucial. We need an experienced Football League manager. If we go the less experienced way, they'll need a Lenny Lawrence experienced type to help guide them. Something similar from Smelly Alan Partridge on Twitter always makes me chuckle. Anything other than the appointment of an experienced Football League manager will lead to us going down next season with a whimper, so he was not in bright mood. And Hamid said, not fuming, but very deflated. On the back of that performance, we have 3 months to worry about what next season will bring. I mean, we ought to touch on the head coach scenario. Jane, the rumour mill was that the new head coach was in the stands yesterday. Do you think they'll have looked at that and had any second thoughts?
Well, I don't really know what to say about the new head coach, who it's going to be. Again, I think it needs to be somebody with experience. You know, we tried it with Robry. I really liked him, but it didn't work. Maybe it will in the future for him, and I guess it will. But whoever, I don't know who the rumours were who was in the stands yesterday, so I can't comment on who it was.
What about you, Ollie? I mean, there can be no doubt in the mind of the new head coach and indeed the chairman that team will struggle next season unless they get more leadership, better leadership, from coaches and experienced players around them. Is that your take?
Yeah, I do appreciate what Hugh tries to do this season. Young players, a manager who's got a bit of a background in youth football and bringing through these talents. It's not worked, not every experiment does, but I think the most important thing we can do now is look at what changes we need to make. As James said, experience is key. I love through fast whether they have experience in League Two, as long as they've been in charge somewhere for some amount of time, someone who knows the pressures and the consequences of their decisions. A lot of the names being linked at the moment is fairly lazy journalism, people looking for Swansea links or youth coaching links. It could be anyone out of a wide pool of names. We could see another left field appointment. It's all on the table at the moment.
Well, we will be watching with interest, and as soon as there's white smoke, and we know the name, the pod will assemble, and we'll do a kind of reaction pod at some point.